There's a lot of people that just chose to hate the Acolyte. And I'm one of them.
It's been like no one cares.
Other than that, I don't really think there's much to say about the show in general. Yo, welcome back to Yo Nerd Podcast, the podcast where we cover different news and nerd culture, share our opinions, and debate on just about anything. I'm Jase.
I'm Zion.
I'm Noah.
And this week we're coming at you guys with our Star Wars year in review. If you didn't see last week's episode, you should go check that out. We gave our Marvel year in review. And yeah, guys, I'm decently excited about, Star Wars year in review.
I'm glad you are, because it might be a sad episode, but we're going to be honest, but still positive. We'll be positive about it. We love Star Wars.
We'll try to be positive.
Yeah, sure.
We'll try. But we'll get into all that later. Let's get into some nerd culture news first.
All right, so this week's nerd news. First up, we have James Earl Jones. On September 9, 2024, James Earl Jones passed away at 93 years old. James Earl Jones was most notable, at least in our circles, for voicing characters like Darth Vader, Mufasa. We just wanted to say rest in peace to James Earl Jones, and that we're praying for his family, and when stuff like this happens and it's like a celebrity or famous person, we're often talking a lot about like their legacy and everything that they've done, which is important and good, honoring them for all they contributed, but they're also someone's family member. So we're offering our prayers to the Jones family and hope they're doing well in this time.
Yeah, rip to a legend. And
then second, this part of the news is very close to one of our members here, Noah. Noah, who's your favorite superhero?
Superman.
Are you excited for the Superman movie coming up?
I'm trying to keep hopes alive.
Okay. Well, let's see how you feel after this. So, apparently, according to comic book writer Mark Waid, on the Capes and Lunatics podcast, he said that Superman will feature, quote, a superpowered dog with heat vision. Now, Noah, do you know of any dog like that?
I do know of one. Voiced
Who
by
is that?
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
So we're talking about Crypto the Super Dog. Supposedly, according to Mark Waid, Crypto the Super Dog will be in the Superman movie. The official start, quote unquote, of the DCU under James Gunn. Noah, how do you feel about this news?
They just included the 50th main character in the movie now. I'm gonna get to see. I'm gonna get
the main character.
All right, he's gonna be in the movie. Why do I wanted a good Superman movie? Why do we don't need a dog in it?
You don't want Crypto?
No, I just want to see a Superman. I just want to see a Superman who's not murdering people.
Kal-El, don't.
Well, that's it for the news this
Crypto,
week.
bro.
Up next, we are heading straight into our Star Wars year in review.
All right, guys, getting into our Star Wars year in review. Plus, we have some bonus content, some bonus ranking for you guys, just because Star Wars has only come out with Acolyte so far this year. We have Skeleton Crew a little bit later, but we're going to be giving our rankings for our shows in order from worst to best, just as they've come out.
There's two answers for 5 that you could give. I'm going to personally go with the one that ruined the greatest character in Star Wars history, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wait.
They ruined Darth Vader.
Oh.
He lost to Obi-Wan. Zion. He's in his prime.
Bro.
He lost to a guy who hasn't used the Force in 2 decades.
Yeah.
Just got cooked.
That was pretty bad.
He could barely.
But it's Obi-Wan.
He could barely hold up Leia from falling. In the next episode, he beat Darth Vader.
It is true.
Also, the show was just terrible. Leia, why was she in the show?
No, why was Anakin in the show and they aged him 40 years? Like, I'll never forget seeing that. Like, they couldn't have just edited him. And then literally the next day on YouTube, the first video in my feed is like, oh, I de-aged Anakin 6. I'm like, why are these random fans doing it better?
They always do. I'd say for me, number 5, it's gonna have to be Obi-Wan too. I can't. Like I was watching it, and already from when the first teaser trailer dropped, I knew. I was like, nah, something looks off. Something looks off. And then just all the choices that they made. There's honestly not a moment where I was like, that was cool. Yeah. What's bottom for you?
Honestly, these bottom two are so interchangeable.
They are.
There's almost nothing good I can say about
Either.
this show.
There's not a good. I can't remember a scene right now that was enjoyable.
That's what I'm saying. But bottom for me, I'm putting Boba Fett because the only good parts of Boba Fett,
was when
are
he
the
wasn't
parts
in
that
it.
had nothing to do with Boba Fett. Like
it's true.
It's so. It actually makes me mad. Like I was looking forward to that show. I was like, oh, they could do so much. I mean, same with Obi-Wan.
Actually, you know what? I'm with you there, and I'll explain why. I'm moving Boba Fett to the bottom.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
And for me, the worst part. So for everyone watching, I'd say for me personally, Star Wars is and always has been my favorite nerd property. Like I'll take Star Wars. Well, I used to. I used to take Star Wars over any superhero, any movie, like Star Wars was the top for me. And Boba Fett has always been my favorite character. Ooh. I don't know why, but like I just love Boba Fett. I thought he had the coolest design. And then other stories of him in the comics, stuff like that, super dope. So when this show came out, I was hyped. Like when he came back in Mandalorian, and when he came back in Mando, he was dope.
Yeah, he was pretty
Season
cool.
2, like his whole fight there,
That's
everything
why I was
that he
so
did.
excited.
Oh, I was hyped for the Boba Fett show. And the heartbreak that show put me through, bro.
So
trauma
trash.
on some of the deepest levels. I'm just kidding about that. That's dramatic. But like it genuinely took my favorite character, and now like I sold my Boba Fett helmet that I had.
I was wondering. I was like, I haven't seen that in a while.
Bro, it's gone. It's gone.
No
like
way.
that show broke my heart. I'm not even gonna lie.
That's crazy.
So Boba Fett's on the bottom there. Only thing that was like dope, like you said, was the Mandalorian episode.
2 episodes
thrown into
exactly.
the Boba Fett show.
Exactly.
When Luke showed up in that series, I genuinely stood up and like screamed. And like
no, that was dope.
Ran across the room. That was awesome. But besides that, Boba Fett's at the bottom.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go this way now.
Yeah, this round's quick.
This is quick. We already know what's next. Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like Noah said, ruin Darth Vader.
It didn't ruin Darth Vader, but
it was pretty close to it.
They need to come out with a good Darth Vader project to redeem him in my eyes.
you can't do a Vader project.
Like there's so much.
Yes, you can.
There's so much that has good Vader. Like Rogue One had excellent Vader.
Yeah.
The video games, like the Star Wars video games, have
Always.
really good Vader.
Yeah.
I don't understand what they were doing in Obi-Wan. Like why they make him so weak?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to nerf him for the plot, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah, it's still just, it didn't make sense.
moving on. We talked enough about Obi-Wan.
Number 4 for me is going to be Obi-Wan. Just rearrange ranking. I've already talked about that. What about you?
Boba Fett,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
It's the clear bottom 2.
Right.
All right. And then
This should
number
be
3.
clear. Ahsoka, the most mid thing I've seen in my life. Like, it was okay. There's a couple cool scenes. They tried to save it with cameos and bringing in characters that we really like, but the story was mid at best.
Yeah.
The fights were... I didn't care about any of the characters.
Yeah.
Really?
No.
Not really. I didn't.
You
even
watched
really...
all of Rebels, right?
Yes. That's the sad part.
Sabine.
No, don't even get me started on Sabine right now. No.
Sabine
Next,
was not
no, someone
Sabine.
go next. I'm
Sabine,
done.
Okay.
I'm done with
number 3,
Sabine.
I'm going to put Ahsoka as well. That was another heartbreak one. Like,
Yeah.
and you have Dave Filoni behind it too. Dave Filoni writing, directing, and it just wasn't it. It didn't feel like an Ahsoka show. And then, but even the Rebels characters fell off. Ezra, they did good. Hera was pretty good. But Sabine, who they focused on. Oh, I forgot, bro. Why does Sabine have the Force?
I know.
Why does Sabine have the
Like,
Force?
first
I
episode, she
know.
fought a Sith, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
She literally fought a Sith with a lightsaber like the first episode or 2.
That's
And the
what
whole
I'm
point of
saying.
Also
the
got
Mandalorians
stabbed
is
and was fine.
they're good enough fighters on their own
They
to
don't
not
need it.
have like
Dude.
that just felt like
Dude.
some cool concepts, some cool moments. I liked the Clone Wars flashbacks in live action. That was cool.
That
to
was
see.
good.
That
I mean,
was
they had to
good.
bring.
I
Anakin
loved I forget their names. I believe it was like Skull and Hottie, the two like Sith characters.
Oh, yeah,
in the
yeah,
show.
yeah.
They were dope, especially that dude.
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think he passed
no,
away.
Yeah,
no, what
he
is
did.
going?
He passed
I got
away?
the names wrong. He did pass away.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
But he was actually really
He
cool.
was dope.
He was like
Yeah,
my
he was cool.
favorite character of the whole show.
So some cool things, but overall just so disappointing.
Yeah. 3 for me. Also Ahsoka. Just a whole lot of mid.
Yeah.
That's enough said. Moving on. Number 2, I got Andor. Only because I did like Andor, but it took way too long to get started. Because how many episodes was it? Was it 8 or 10?
No, it was like
Was it
12.
It was
Because 8 to 10 was a good 3 episodes. That was
yeah,
it.
it was 12.
It was 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it took at least like 6 episodes for it to like get the ball rolling to where I was actually like invested. Other than that, I thought it was pretty good. I think what's his name, the actor that plays
Diego
Cassie?
Luna.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought he did an amazing job.
The
So,
whole cast
Yeah,
was
yeah.
incredible.
yeah. So I liked it a lot. It just took a little bit too long for me to
Yeah.
get started.
Number 2 for me, Mandalorian. Hold up.
Wrap it up,
wait,
bro.
wait,
Wrap it up.
wait. Let me explain why. Season 1 Mandalorian, amazing, incredible. First Star Wars live action show we've ever seen. The hype was crazy back then. Then season 2 comes along, starting to incorporate it into the larger Star Wars universe, which a lot of people didn't like. They kind of wanted it to be separate. I personally enjoyed it. It was cool seeing all these characters kind of pop up. But season 3, another heartbreak.
That was actually
The theme of Star Wars right now is just a lot of heartbreak and disappointment. Season 3, I don't know how it went from like the highs of the first
to
two
just so
even the quality felt worse. The CGI and the look of it, the story. I'm not really sure.
The Lizzo episode. Oh, why was Lizzo in Star Wars?
why was Lizzo? in
Hey,
Star Wars?
listen, if good for her.
No,
Like if
what
you're a
was that
Star Wars fan,
episode?
if you're a Star Wars fan, it's cool that
Is she
you
a
get
Star
to
Wars
be in
fan?
it. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know
She
that.
said she was. So good for her.
She said she was.
Even incorporating it though, like how they did it,
I mean,
didn't really work.
yeah.
It was, yeah.
So, yeah, Mandalorian season 2 or Mandalorian overall number 2, which is still
Crazy take.
high.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, go ahead. What's yours?
Andor. Just easily. I mean, if we're just going to go about it with math, 2 of the 3 seasons from Mandalorian were great. So that's 66%. Andor had
Or is a full
3 good episodes.
1,000%.
No.
Andor had 3 great episodes.
I was snoozing for the first.
So
half of that
1/4. So 25% of the show was great. The rest of it was mid. How is it better than Mandalorian was
All right,
phenomenal.
so
First,
Mandalorian is number 1 for you.
easily.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons were some of the best Star Wars we've had since the OG3 came out.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Like
That's
amazing. Mandalorian was amazing. Baby Yoda took the world by storm.
That's
I'll
fair.
like-
never forget
That's
that
true.
first episode. That was so
Dude.
good
Yeah,
at the end.
that was crazy.
Phenomenal.
Good. Yeah.
So number 1 for me, Andor. I loved Andor. It was slow at times, but I think just the quality
At
they
times.
approached it with.
Episode 1 through 7 and 11 and 12 were all slow.
No. There were some genuinely great moments, but I think it did something that I've never seen in Star Wars before, and it brought a tone and a depth to it that I've really been wanting. Like
Yeah.
Mandalorian's great, but at the end of the day, it's a very simple story of this guy and his kid. At the end of the day, they tried to add a lot more, didn't really work well. So I love, and that's great. That's its own thing, but I really love the depth that Andor brought to just Star Wars in general and the quality. The cinematography was the best I've seen in like any of the shows. The writing, the speeches in the show. There were like several speeches that I continually go back to and just listen to those speeches. Like Luthen was a G. No, come on.
Yo, Zion, you're glazing this show, bro. This show is not it.
Noah. Bro, go watch.
Can you tell me a good scene that
go-
happened in the first half of the show? First 6
There's
episodes.
not-
Tell me a scene that you remember.
Well,
No,
I-
just tell me a scene. That's all I'm not just
In the
one
first
scene.
6?
Yes.
Episode 6, The Eye. When they're flying through, Homeboy gets crushed by the thing. They escape through all the like
Mid.
stars and stuff.
Mid.
Bro, why is that's the best thing we
I
had in the
can't-
first half
and then
of the
he
show.
like kills the guy at the end because he's like betraying the rebels. Come on.
That's when it starts picking up, and then you have those, 3.
The prison
really good
episodes were phenomenal.
Yeah, and then after that,
Back to mid.
All right, what's number 1?
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to include season 3 in that ranking.
Oh, and we didn't include season 2.5 and
In
Boba Fett, which you literally
2.5
told me.
was bomb.
You said that is the best Star Wars we've had since the OG3.
That
You
was-
said that's
All
the
right,
best.
all right.
You told me that.
I was so down on Boba Fett
That's
that
also
when I
crazy.
got
He said since the OG.
no.
He said since
I
Empire
take
Strikes
that
Back, that's
back.
the best
I
Star Wars
was-
we've had. The best Star Wars content. You said that. I was at the house with you.
Noah. All right, listen. It was a dark time in life. Boba Fett was breaking my heart. Then I had a good episode or something. I was like, "Yo, this is
Yeah,
amazing."
no,
Also,
this-
seeing Luke though in his prime, we
yeah,
never
yeah.
saw Luke after Episode 6
Yeah, true.
when he was a prime Jedi, starting things up before
Yeah.
the sequels.
Wait,
So.
I don't even
So
blame
seeing
you.
Luke in his prime of like, even though Loki in that episode,
he was low-key rude to Grogu, bro.
he was
bro, let him.
terrible to Grogu.
Yeah.
Then he just put him on a ship by himself.
Child abuser.
Nah, Luke,
on,
bro.
Hey, no
Nah,
wonder
Luke, bro.
Kylo betrayed him, bro. Look how he treats his students, bro. This
I
guy's
know when
terrible.
Grogu left. What? I didn't even think about that till just now. Luke
Well,
was
just had him
probably like,
flipping across a pond all day. So, do you want to stay with me or go with your dad? I would have left too. Dude,
Dude, yeah, I don't even blame you for having like saying that's the best episode since we got, because the switch up from Boba Fett to that is crazy.
Yeah. That Mandalorian episode in there was awesome.
Yeah.
that was cool. So
Yeah, and number 1 for me, Mandalorian. Like I said, I don't want to include season 3 because like the whole Darksaber thing made me so mad.
waste of Moff Gideon.
Exactly.
Waste of Moff
Exactly.
Gideon turned into literally
Exactly.
Iron Man. That was crazy. You forgot about that. Huh?
I didn't forget about that. It makes I'm like sweating right now, bro. I'm so mad.
Yeah,
Oh
that was
my
wild.
gosh.
That was wild.
That made me so mad.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Now we're gonna move into our review of Acolyte.
All right, I gotta preface this. There's a lot of people that immediately from the jump just chose to hate the Acolyte for
And I'm one of them.
all right. Keep that same energy with what I'm about to say.
All right.
A lot of people chose to hate the Acolyte because they didn't like the people that were in the show. Because it was very diverse. So Jase is
All right,
one of
all
those
right,
people,
okay,
apparently.
Okay. No, I really like Amandla Stenberg as an actor. She is in Hunger Games. She's in The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
I think she's a phenomenal actress. I think she even saved the show, personally. Like I like as an actress.
no,
I did not like her
You think she
character.
Who
saved
played
the show?
Soul? What was his name again?
don't
I gotta look it up. We'll look it up. So there's a lot of people that review bombed the show, tried to really bring it down because they saw it as diverse and forced inclusion and all that kind of stuff. As people of color, obviously that sucks.
Yeah.
So
I hated it for different reasons, guys.
There's many reasons I hated that show.
still not an enjoyable show. However, not for those reasons. And I think it's really unfortunate that a lot of people can't have genuine conversation about what goes wrong because they're too busy just hating and review bombing because they don't like that there's black characters in the show or, it's a more diverse cast. So that's the unfortunate part about it. And I think it's even more unfortunate because like Lucasfilm pulled the plug on it after this season.
Yeah.
It, in my opinion, it deserved. I don't know that I want to see a second season, but it's unfortunate that it came out of a place of that mainly.
Yeah.
Like they've had to stick through worse and kind of keep going. So it's just unfortunate. But anyway, on to the actual review.
I think the most unfortunate part is that it came out That show was that was terrible, Zion. That was one of the worst things I've seen.
All right. No.
Take out that one episode when we were in the forest. That might be on Boba Fett
Also,
tier.
what is with Star Wars and like witches and like being on it?
The witches of Dathomir have, or witches in general in Star Wars have, like it's been too much.
I felt like it was like the same vibe. Like it was like there's the witches on this like island, and then the Sith train on this island. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like it was the same thing. I don't know why they keep doing it because it's not really working, but you know.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's yeah, it was a weird experience watching the show because it was like the first show in the High Republic era, and man,
Already ruined that era. I don't want to see any more of it.
Well, it's just such a bummer because the books and stuff are so good. The books, the idea of it, it's like the golden age of the Jedi. And what I was really disappointed about was none of that was really reflected in the show. It felt like the Jedi of the prequels, where everything. And I haven't read all of the High Republic stuff, but from what I have read, the Jedi always have their problems. But it was like this is the time where the Jedi are really at their peak, and honestly, they're very healthy overall. Like there's a story where one of the Jedi kind of struggles with the dark side, and he goes to one of his other friends in the Jedi, and these Jedi are much more like about attachment and relationship and all that, and he kind of talks about it, and instead of like doing an Anakin, like I imagine what would it have been like if Anakin was around in the High Republic,
Right?
Because like this guy, he like goes to kind of a retreat and gets better, and that whole thing. So it just was such a poor representation. I think the creators behind the show have such a, I don't like the trope where the Jedi are portrayed as like space cops.
Yeah.
And that's very much what it was.
That's what it was, exactly.
I get it, they can be like that sometimes,
Right.
but overall that's not the entirety of the Jedi,
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I don't know, talk about thoughts as you're going through the show. What stood out? What were you missing?
I just feel like it was a waste. Like we follow this one, like we follow both sisters, or not even sisters, they're the same person. Anyway, we follow these two individuals of the same whatever is going on there. I don't even know. And then at the end, one of their memories is just wiped. I don't understand
that
why.
was tough.
I don't know
that
why.
That was tough.
Like I feel like there's other ways that you could write the ending to that. You know what I'm saying?
The ending honestly made no sense.
That's what I'm saying.
Could have written the whole show differently.
It made no sense.
Maybe could have been a good show.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
I didn't hear him, but hopefully the mic picked that up. I wonder what he said.
We'll know eventually. Noah, what about you? What was kind of like a low of the
good thing you said that. The low was for me, Soul, who
don't do it.
The sisters
Don't say the word.
No, the sisters were about to fall into the pit wherever the planet was, whatever. The whole building they were staying in was getting destroyed. They're about to fall. Man decides to pick up both bridges and hold them up. He can't hold them up, so he decides to pick up one bridge. Just use the freaking force and hold up the girls. Why are you holding up a massive steel bridge that you can't do? Just pick up the girls and bring them over. Why was he holding the bridge?
I think he was a little bit biased.
No, and listen, I just gotta say, I thought Soul was a great character early on. Then as it went, I'm like, this is getting kind of creepy. Like, he has some
Certified
weird,
lover
no,
boy?
no.
Certified lover boy?
This man was on some slight PDF file. Real Drake energy out here.
All right.
He was on some Drake energy out here.
Nah. We're
If
not
you know,
saying-
you know.
we're not
If you
saying
know,
this is
you know.
Drake slander right now. We're talking about Star Wars and how.
I'm just
Let me
saying.
chill.
There was some.
Hey, if we're talking about that, we're gonna talk about the villain
Kamir, the dude who is
in going to
somehow
take.
teleport. Like how is he getting to these places so fast?
I was gonna talk about the certified lover boy aspect of him.
There was some sus moments.
Let me just bring you to my island and
Moments.
take off all my clothes and take a bath in some water while you're standing right there.
That was crazy.
What are we doing, Star Wars?
That was crazy.
Why was that scene needed?
Was terrible outside of that.
The rest of the
I
show?
actually thought he was a good character. He was an interesting character, at least, because I've never seen an approach to the dark side like that.
Yeah.
It was like normally when we see a Sith, they're like these terrifying dudes in black. You know, I get he was still wearing black, but like,
you mean like
it was
when he
less
faking
about
to be somebody else, like
that. But even when he was with Osha and trying to lure her to the dark side, it was less about like, this will give you power and I'm scary and all that, and it was more like this kind of like he was trying to seduce her to the dark side. He was trying to be like really cool and really, it was like it was a different approach that I actually appreciated, of like, oh, that's actually an interesting way to try to lure someone to the dark side. I mean, like, no, this is a normal thing. Like the Jedi kind of decide who's wrong and right, but it's all false. So I thought that was interesting, but and then I think the high of the season overall were the fights.
Yeah,
like amazing fights, even some without lightsabers. It was just great, like hand-to-hand work. And then episode, what was that, 5? The big lightsaber battle. I think that was one of the best lightsaber fights I've seen since the prequels.
Headbutting the lightsabers.
Bro, it's canon.
Okay, wait.
It is canon.
Do they? Because obviously it's a rare metal, but do they ever say like, if no one else can get the medal, like, because we don't obviously.
No, they don't. I don't think they talk about it really.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's just abandoned that forever. Nobody else ever uses it.
I think it's in like books or something, but yeah. I mean, it was a cool concept, but it's like, why doesn't everyone have?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I was wondering because honestly, I spent a lot of that, like a lot of me watching Acolyte, like scrolling on TikTok. So maybe I missed something they said, but no, I don't think they said anything.
For me, I'm putting the Acolyte overall. Oh man, it's going in the C tier, because there were elements of it that I liked. In terms of the fighting, I liked some of the characters, and I thought the show had good ideas. It just was not executed well.
I agree. I say low C as well. There were some things that I liked. Like I said, I like Amanda Stenberg as an actress. I think with what she was given, she did a great job.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really think there's much to say about the show in general. So
I guess I'll go C. It's very no. It's bottom of C, like the lowest you could possibly go in C without going to
let me ask you too. What's keeping it from
like, that one episode? In
Obi-Wan and Boba Fett are keeping it from that. Straight up, that's literally it.
Yeah, it's better than those shows enough to get a tier above.
Exactly,
and it had one good episode.
Okay,
yeah.
So I think we know where we're putting it. The
fourth.
Overall rank.
It should fourth.
I'm putting it above.
It's between the mid of Ahsoka and the trash of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan.
It's between Ahsoka and Obi-Wan for me. Yeah. And then it would be
Boba Fett and Ahsoka for me. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, there's our Acolyte discussion, kind of the year in Star Wars overall. Next up, we're going to talk about what's next for Star Wars, and try to be positive about where the franchise is going overall.
Yeah.
All right, so there's very little confirmed for Star Wars coming up.
Thankfully.
Franchise. Don't do that. The franchise is in a weird spot right now. The only thing that we've seen for sure, Star Wars Skeleton Crew coming out December 3rd, 2024. We have received a teaser trailer for that. Any thoughts?
Whole lot of mid.
I don't see how you could have high expectations for Star Wars. Like, how many times do we have to look at a trailer and go, that looks good?
And it's Skeleton Crew.
And it's been, like, no one cares, dude.
Here's the thing. For me, I'm holding out a little bit of hope for it because...
And that's the Star Wars fan in you. Always holding out hope for the next project. It's gone, Zion.
You held out hope.
Star Wars is dead.
No, it's not. Any franchise can come back. We were saying that about Marvel, but they're
No, I never said it was fully dead. It was on the decline. This is
anyway.
gone.
So we have.
We're looking forward to Skeleton Crew.
Well,
Imagine
because of what they've
embarrassing.
described it as. It's like described almost as like a Stranger Things, but in Star Wars.
So they're gonna mess
Now-
up another good thing.
That's probably putting the expectations way too high.
Stranger Things is goated, by the way.
It is an amazing show.
The best show.
From what I saw, it looked fun. That's what I'll say about it. I don't think it's what Star Wars needs right now, though. If
Seems
this were in
quality.
like a really great time and you throw in a show like Skeleton Crew as kind of
Right.
bonus
Okay,
extra,
yeah, I can see
that's
that.
great.
But
But as like we're in a really low spot and then you're coming out with Skeleton Crew, it's
This
like
is the show that they're gonna try to save Star Wars with.
I don't even
Skeleton
think they're
Crew.
trying to save Star Wars at this point, especially not with Skeleton Crew. I think they tried to save it with Obi-Wan. I think they tried to save it with Boba Fett, Ahsoka. Skeleton Crew, they just threw in there for fun.
we also have in 2025 with no dates attached. Actually, I think this might be the only project coming out in 2025. Andor season 2. Now, this gives me hope. Andor season 2 is going to be amazing. And I think it's going to cut a lot of the fluff. Here's why. Because the first season covered a year of his life. It was 5 years before Rogue One. The second season is going to do, I think, 3 episode arcs covering the 4 years leading up to Rogue One. So it's going to be a lot faster paced. Going to cover a lot more time. I think it's going to work out well. Andor.
Let's just hope there's 3 good episodes again, so at least it can be
Oh
decent.
my gosh, so negative. All right, in
How can I be
2026,
positive?
May 22nd, we have the Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
I can't be excited about it anymore. Like,
Just so like we could get it. We could get a Poe Dameron movie,
I'll take Mando over that.
but we've already seen enough Mando. We've already seen the atrocity that is in the Mandalorian.
Season 3.
Season 3.
all right, to be fair, it wasn't his fault though. He wasn't even the main character.
Exactly.
We also have Ahsoka season 2.
Yay! Like,
Yeah.
Tab just
honestly,
closed.
get more mid.
Yeah, it's honestly like I can't remember the actor's name, but he played the Sith Lord guy.
Yeah.
Him not being in the show, that's gonna hurt because he was honestly one of the best parts about that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of Star Wars movies that are in the works, quote unquote. We have one following Daisy Ridley's Rey, post episode 9. Now, we have not talked about our Star Wars movie rankings.
Because that'll be.
We
a
will
whole
save that
episode.
for another day. Let's just say episode 9
Ooh, let me chill.
nearly led to some dark times for me. So, very scared for what they... Very scared for the Rey movie, but I like Rey as a character. Overall.
Ray Palpatine, not
No,
Ray
Rey
Skywalker.
Skywalker.
No, Ray Palpatine.
Where'd she get the last
Stop.
name, bro?
I don't want to think about
All right,
episode
all
9, bro. This has been a hard enough
But it was
podcast,
a
okay?
friend- but it was a Zion, it was just a friendship kiss. So
No.
so why'd you take his
stop.
last name then?
All right, there's also an untitled Dave Filoni Star Wars movie in the works, probably centered around like the Mando, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew era of Star Wars. There's a movie from director James Mangold in the works. He has done movies like Logan, Ford v Ferrari, Indiana Jones 5. So, but he has described it as covering the earliest stages of Star Wars. And it will be a biblical epic like the 10 Commandments about the dawning of the Force.
Interesting.
That really intrigues me, but at the same time, it's almost something where it's like, are we explaining too much? There's certain elements of lore that just kind of need to be left where they are.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are we doing too much with that? Not sure. Untitled Taika Waititi movie coming out.
That's gonna
No.
be garbage.
No.
Here we go.
And that has been in talks for a while.
That
I
is
don't
going
think they're
to
doing
be-
it, but they just haven't confirmed that it's canceled. Please cancel it. No.
Please.
No.
If you have any self-respect for yourself, Star Wars, please don't let that movie come out.
They don't.
And then finally, we have the We have the Lando Project. I believe it's a TV show. I would actually be really interested in a Lando show. Lando's one of my favorite Star Wars characters.
I want
You
a
have a
show.
certified lover boy.
I want to.
Hey, no.
I want a show about him post episode 9.
No,
I want to see
stop.
the journey he was going on.
But this show kind of being headed up by Donald Glover. Love Donald Glover. Thought he did a great job. And I would say he's one of, like, for me personally, one of my favorite creatives overall, just in terms of television and, you know, his writing and everything like that. So if he's involved in something with the Lando Project, I would be excited about that.
Yeah, shout out Atlanta.
Guys, how are we ranking the future of Star Wars? Your excitement overall?
Noah?
We should all have the same answer, right?
No, because Zion glazes.
Sorry, Zion's gonna give it a C. It's in yo. Like yo, what are we doing with this?
Get it together, Star Wars. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm putting it at C. But because we have Andor season 2, the best Star Wars project, TV show, live action.
This dude.
I'll say that.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for our second episode of the Yo Nerd podcast. We're excited to see you next week. We'll come at you guys next week with a surprise episode.
There you go.
Until then, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow TikTok, Instagram, and we'll see you guys next week.
See y'all.